Okay, we are here with Andrea Rounds, and so I understand that you've been doing your DNA and connecting with some matches. How many have you connected with?
Oh my heavens. Um, well, two significant ones. I, of course, I see my siblings and my children, my first cousins, my nieces and nephews, and we, make a joke of connecting with each other and saying, "Did you know you're my first cousin?" But and everybody has that experience mostly, but I had two really significant matches, uh, but they didn't even begin with me, which they were um, referred to me because I am the one in the family who does the genealogy part of family history. So my siblings and my daughter, they figured that I would know how to deal with these matches that contacted them.
Okay,
I've had
so
two significant ones.
okay, and can you tell us a little more about it? Like, you don't have to give names or anything, but
Okay, yeah, right, right. Um, well, the first one, actually, my daughter contacted this match, and noticing that it was, pretty close to her, but she started asking. My daughter started asking me questions that were interesting. And so I said, why all of a sudden are you asking these questions? And she told me that she had a DNA match. And so she sent her over to me. And it turns out that this person was adopted and that she wanted to get to know her biological family. So we emailed back and forth, we um, sent pictures and so on. And and then finally we met, and we met at a restaurant, and I asked her if it was all right if I brought my sisters and another relative, and she said sure, sure. So we met at this restaurant. My sister and I were there first, and I had turned away to ask if our table was ready, and I heard my sister say, "Are you our DNA match?" And she said, "I think so." And and my sister said, "You look just like your mother." So um so it was a really, really great experience. And then when she told us that she not only had DNA matches for her mother's side, which is our side of the family, she also had DNA matches for her mother's father's side of the family.
Awesome.
So we knew then this was our match. And she really was part of the family. And we were just so excited to meet her. And she was so relieved to have friendly family. Um, and and that's an exciting thing. And then we had another get together at my house, and more relatives came to meet her, and she was just thrilled to have a friendly family. We
I
were
know that's always a
thrilled
little bit
for her.
nerve-wracking because you don't know if like how they're going to respond or anything. It's a
Right.
brave step to take.
But it took a long time because I of us me emailing back and forth and using ancestry DNA back and forth. Um, it was my daughter contacted her through 23andMe. That's where they had um, their DNA tested, and then our match uploaded her test to Ancestry, and that's how we we got together. And uh, it was just so exciting. And like I said, it took me a long time because I wasn't quite sure how DNA worked. but when she told me that she was related to both sides of her mother's line, that was it.
There's no
I
saying.
knew how DNA worked.
So from beginning to end, how long do you think it took till you
It,
guys met?
it actually took, let's see, it took about a year. It took about a year because she had questions and I had questions, and she was telling me the unidentifying information that the adoption agency used, and the unidentifying information was really extremely identifying of my relative. And so it was exciting though, and like I said, we had phone calls. We had, and I didn't realize she lived so close to me. That was another thing. I didn't realize she lived so close to me. So when we decided to meet, I thought, oh heavens, we should have done this long ago. But unfortunately, by the time my daughter contacted her, um, our match's mother had passed away. So she did not get to meet her mother, but I'm sure her mother would have been so proud of her. She's so accomplished and so lovely, such a lovely person.
That's awesome. Okay, so tell us about your second.
Oh, the other one is exciting too. This one contacted my oldest brother. I guess she had more DNA connected with him than with me. But she contacted my oldest brother, and he just kind of sent her on to me. And she was saying that she was somehow connected to my great grandfather, who was born in Sweden. And this DNA match lived in New York. And she, we know that my great grandfather, um, his father, all we know is his name, his where he was born, and his parents. We don't know anything about him. It was just one of those things. And and my great grandfather never knew him. But and we don't know what happened to him or anything. All these years, we haven't known a thing about this man. Then this DNA match says that she has a great grandfather who had a similar name, but he was in New York. And I thought, well, that's strange. And then we find out that he had changed his name. He actually did this. My great great grandfather actually did emigrate at some point to the United States and lived in New York. And she told me that her grandmother was born in New York, and I discovered she was born in New York in 1893. My great grandfather was born in Sweden in 1863, but they had the same father, and he had changed his name from Johan Eriksson to John Eriksson
Much more
in the
American.
United States. Yeah, yeah, little easier to pronounce for people, and more American, and so on. And the exciting thing was not only to find this half sister of my great grandfather, but to find out that this woman um, had a lovely voice. She sang on Broadway way back
Nice.
when. She also did comedy sketches, which leads me to believe that maybe she did vaudeville. And then it's so interesting to me because my grandmother came to Utah from Sweden in 1910, and she sang in the Salt Lake Theater. She had a lovely voice. And my great grandfather was a carpenter. He he learned very young to be a wheelwright and a carpenter. And that's how he made his living in Sweden. And then he came here in 1907, got a job right away with Granite Mill that just started. Granite Mill is a very popular company here still in Utah, and they do really wonderful finish work and so on. And that is what my great grandfather did. And Johann, or John, was also a carpenter. So he and we traded pictures back and forth. She showed me the picture of the house that John built, and a picture of it today. So it's still standing there in
So neat.
Brooklyn. Yeah. So, and she showed me the picture of the boat that he built. And all, it's just absolutely amazing that these interests and talents come down through both of these lines, the two half siblings. It's just amazing to me.
That's awesome.
And
So
like I say, anybody can find these things. You just have to want to.
So for that one, how long did it take from beginning to end?
Do you know that took place in last year, 2020, okay, when absolutely nothing was open, nothing was going on, nobody was leaving home. And
so that made it pretty exciting.
It was great. And that took well, we're still corresponding. She's going to try and find some more pictures of her grandmother as an actress and a singer, a performer.
So, that would be so cool to find video too. Like, you know, hopefully somewhere. I know they got rid of a lot.
Yeah. Oh, that would be wonderful. I asked her for programs too, if she had any programs. So she's looking for all that stuff. But yeah, that only took a few months, you know, and like I said, we're still corresponding. So
very neat.
It's exciting. Very neat. Yes, it's very neat.
And so, how do you think connecting with these DNA members have affected your personal life?
Well, I'll tell you, I've always enjoyed connecting with relatives that I have found on Ancestry and Family Search and so on. But it just adds a deeper level of connection. And it makes me realize that there are people out there who are really searching for friendly family members. And I can help. I can be that. I can be that friendly family member, and vice versa. They can be my friendly family member and make new friends with DNA families. It is uplifting.
So I take it you have a lot of genealogy data, like on the family tree side of things, right? Like you have a lot of. Okay, so I have a DNA match that's like that, and I were like second or third cousins, but I really, really, really appreciated it because it helped fill in holes. Like he just had, I think he has over like 2,000 people on his tree, almost 3,000, and it was so nice to be able to go in there and be like, okay, I can grab this info, and I know where this connection is, and then you can find other matches. So if you don't, I mean, for anybody else listening, if they don't have feel like they have a lot of strong DNA matches, you can at least fill your tree as much as you can and then help others.
Well, yes, and I hope I'm doing that.
Yeah. People like you, I'm really appreciative for.
Yeah. I found a lot of people, not a lot, but some of my matches, when I look at their tree, I realize on one side of their family, they're related to me, and on the other side, they're related to my husband. That's kind of fun.
You get to hit both sides at once. Yeah,
it's really amazing. But
I think that's funny because a lot of people get shocked. I'm fifth cousins with my spouse, and I'm like, well,
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
like 16 grandparents. That's not too bad.
I am related to my husband about 9 generations back, but yeah, it's. I hope that I'm helping others with the family tree that I have up there on
Yeah, definitely.
Ancestry.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. Is there anything else that you wanted to add before we end this?
Don't hesitate. Get a book that your DNA guide, the book. It is so amazing. You can see all the oops there. You can see all the different places I have marked to read. It's
Yep.
really helpful, very down to earth and easy to understand.
And
That way you can connect easier with people.
and it breaks it down to like the easy details because I think I sat there and looked at my grandma's DNA for like 2 years before it finally made sense. And that would have been helpful to have
I
the book.
know.
Didn't even know you did. But anybody else who's just starting, the DNA guide helped us create the plan, the Beyond Basics DNA plan. And you can find that at connections-experiment.com. And then you click on plans and it should be on there. So, and that'll be a way to help get you started. And they help guide you through and give you links and walk you through all the
it's
fun and the hard
really
stuff.
helpful.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us.
You're
And
welcome.